You see cold approach as a you versus the girl you're about to approach. You're thinking, what do I need to say? How do I ask for a number? When am I going up to her? What if I told you that you can save the mental energy you spent on her thoughts and instead put it into shutting your own thoughts up? That's gonna make you cold approach. Why should you listen to me? I went from autistic overthinker to doing multiple cold approaches every day now. So let's get into the video. First realization I want you to have is that thinking does not solve problems. Cold approach is a scary thing for you to do right now because you've never done it before. And your brain hates scary things because doing scary things, that means you need to face the fear inside of your head, and that's painful. Your brain does not want pain. But your brain also dislikes telling itself that it's a bitch who can't face pain. So it's going to create a logical reason why you're not cold approaching right now, which means you're unprepared. And then your brain thinks, okay, since we're unprepared, we just need to think about the approach a little bit more, and then we're prepared, and then we can actually do it. What you are doing is waiting for the perfect moment that your brain is telling you is just around the corner. Trust me, just around the corner. But we all know what happens. The perfect moment never arrives, and when you are waiting for it, you are never cold approaching. So since thinking doesn't solve problems, what does it actually do? It creates problems. You know why? I mean, if you saw the pretty girl and your thought was, oh, she's pretty, I want to tell her that, then you don't have any problems in your head with that right now. You just had like the impulse, and then you were about to follow the impulse, but then the first thought comes in, thinking, oh what? Wait. What if she thinks I'm creepy? Bam. That's a thought that just generated a problem. Now guess what happens if you keep on having more thoughts? It's going to keep on generating more problems because you're thinking, oh, and now I waited too long, and oh, now she's with a friend, and oh, now I can't do it anymore. So cold approach is very similar to jumping in a pool of cold water. Your brain is going to be thinking, let's do it in a minute. Let's do it as soon as we're warmed up. Let's do it as soon as XYZ happens. What actually happens is your brain doesn't want to jump into the cold water because it knows it's cold, so it tries to make up all these logical reasons to it. But bro, the pool, it doesn't get warmer. The water stays the same temperature if you jump in right now or if you jump in after your brain told you 10 times not to jump in. It doesn't really make a difference. There's going to be the same amount of pain no matter how long you wait, how much more prepared you become. So what I want you to realize is that the reason you're not cold approaching right now isn't because, she's wearing headphones, she's with a friend, she doesn't want to be spoken to right now. It's all in here. It's you. You are the reason you're not cold approaching right now. Your brain is lying to yourself, telling you, oh, we're unprepared. We need to watch more YouTube videos like this. We need to wait a little bit longer. We need to catch her in a good moment where she doesn't wear headphones. The only solution your brain offers you if you think about the cold approach is to wait longer, to wait for this perfect moment that doesn't exist. Now, what does that mean for you? If you've been the guy who's been waiting, who's been thinking about the approach, who's been thinking about the best opener, what does it mean for you? Exactly, you need to shut that voice in here up and actually do it. Because what you are doing right now, when you're thinking about her reaction, about your impression on her, you're fighting a you versus her. You're trying to figure out what she's gonna think, and then you're trying to figure out what you need to say to make her think the correct thing. But what actually ends up happening when you try to find the perfect thing that you need to say to her is that you don't say anything at all. Actually, you just inhibit most of the thoughts you have because you're thinking, oh no, I can't really say that because there's going to be a problem with it. So your current reality is, oh, you have all these creative ideas, but you can't tell her. Now let's compare this to a dream reality where you have all these ideas and you're thinking, you know what, I think I'm just gonna tell her. Imagine how cool it would be if you didn't give a fuck about, oh, what does she think? What will other people think of me? Imagine how cool you would be. You go in the gym and you'd fist bump the guy at the reception, and then you will tell him, oh yeah, and I'm gonna fucking hit a hard workout today, and he's hyping you up. And you go to the changing room, and then there's another guy. You tell him, oh yeah, what you training today? And he's like funny, you know. He tells, oh yeah, I just did like crazy arms day today. I moaned the whole gym. And then while you're hitting legs, you see a chick wearing headphones, and you don't even fucking start overthinking about it. You just go like, hey, and then you say, hey, what's up? And she's like, oh, hey, what's up? And then you start chatting for a couple minutes, and she laughs at all your jokes, and you think like, oh yeah, I'm a baller. When you're outside the gym, you see another pretty girl, you wave over, hey, and then you give her like a compliment, she smiles at you and shit. Like, how cool would that shit be if you really didn't give a fuck anymore? Now, what is stopping you from not giving a fuck? Now I'm telling you, it is spending time in the brain of other people. I also talk about this in my course, which you can check out in the first link description, by the way. It's very high value. But when you are using your mental energy to simulate the mental processes in other people's mind, that's when all the inhibition starts. That's when you start behaving for other people instead of for yourself. Think about it. If your mental energy never left your head and never tried to think about what she's thinking, would you still be scared of going up to her? Or would you think, oh yeah, what I think, okay, I want to speak to her, and then you go up. Instead of having, oh fuck, I think that she might think that she thinks that I'm thinking that I'm, you know what, it's bullshit. But you're probably thinking right now, no, I can't stop thinking about what other people are thinking, because otherwise they're going to judge me in a bad way. But bro, why are you afraid? Why are you afraid of the judgment of some chick you're never going to see again? Why are you afraid of guys looking at you weird when you start moaning in the gym? Who gives a fuck, bro? The bullshit that stops you from cold approach only ever happens once you start thinking, okay, but what image does she have of me and how can I approve of that image? And of course, your brain's gonna say, oh yeah, she has the image that that you are ugly and she doesn't want to be cold approached by you, and then you're going to follow that image for her instead of following the image you would have liked yourself. So what this comes down to is that it's actually not you versus the girls, but it's you versus yourself. If you were able to just keep that mental energy inside of you instead of spurting it all out into the minds of other people, you'd be cold approaching so much more. This is our next section, you versus you. What happens when you don't give a fuck about other people's opinions of you anymore? What happens when you can literally reserve all that mental energy inside of your own head and put it to work against your fear? Because of course, I'm not telling you that you can just keep all that mental energy inside of your head and then you can do what you want, because there's still going to be this fear of judgment of other people. Everybody has it because it's kind of like genetically wired into us, so we fit into the tribe. But what if you use that mental energy you spend on other people to fight that fear and to tell that voice in your head, yo, shut the fuck up, we're doing this now. A hands-on cold approach example for this would be when you see a woman and you already kind of know, you know, like, she's most likely going to reject me and I'm most likely going to have kind of a creepy vibe because I waited a couple minutes too long to speak to her. But then you think, honestly, but what do I think? Do I just want to prove myself that I can still do this cold approach even though it's going to be a shitty interaction? Or am I going to fold and live after her reality of, oh yeah, I don't want to be cold approached? Like, your mind is going to tell you, oh, it's going to be a shitty interaction, don't do it. But then you're going to be thinking, you know what, shut up. And you do the interaction and it's going to be a shitty interaction, but you're not going to think like, oh damn, it was a shitty interaction, what a fucking bullshit. No, you're going to think like, yes, like, I proved myself that I am not a slave to my fear. I can still go into interactions, and even if they're bad, I kind of won because I beat my fear, and that's the most important part. Because you will realize that rejection, it's not like real pain, it's more constructed pain, you know? The more you blow it up in your brain, the more thoughts you have on her thoughts, the bigger you're going to think, oh fuck, it's going to be so painful when she rejects me because like everything, like the whole world's going to crumble. But bro, it's not that way. It's more like you've made this thing out to be like so dramatic that now you kind of have a block in your mind that doesn't let you do cold approaches anymore. But bro, it's not real pain. Real pain is when somebody takes a knife and stabs you with it, but when she says no, you're just gonna think, okay, I kind of cringe, you know, whatever. Like, it's not real, bro. It's in your head. So what I want you to do is that you remove all care for the outcome of the interaction. All you should care about is if you beat your fear and you did what you wanted. For example, you went up to her even though your brain was saying, no, don't do this, she's with her friends. That you went up there anyways and you cold approached her anyways. And even if it was a shitty interaction, you still won because you beat yourself. Because once you really do that, that detaches your self-worth from the perception other people have of you. And that's a beautiful feeling, because if you're no longer influenced or only minorly influenced by what other people think of you, you're going to live so much more authentic, and that's going to satisfy you so much that you're going to think like, damn, like how did I not live like this before? Authenticity and not needing to prove yourself to anybody, we have a term for that, and we call it non-neediness. And guess what non-neediness is? It's the most attractive trait you can have, because if a girl sees, oh fuck, he's non-needy, that communicates that you are high status, that you don't really have to stay in favor of anybody. That means you have to be high in the social ladder. So one more time, if you really want to understand non-neediness and really not giving a fuck anymore, check out the first link in the description. I talk about that in my full guide to your first call approach. Otherwise, you can watch this video or subscribe to the channel right here. I'll see you in the next one.